Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the English Success tutorial. Today we'll look at mental health nursing. And in mental health nursing, we'll look at specifically personality disorders. There are 10 different conditions that fall under personality disorders. These conditions are classified into various groups called cluster. Every group of conditions that fall in the same category have similar characteristics, meaning they have similar features. So you're going to have cluster A, cluster B, and cluster C. Now, cluster A has 3 disorders, cluster B has 4 disorders, and cluster C has 3 disorders. So when you sum everything, it's going to give us 10 different disorders. So let's look at cluster A conditions. So cluster A have 3 disorders. One, you have the paranoia disorder, paranoid personality disorder. 2, you have the schizoid disorder. And 3, you have the schizoid type disorder. These are the 3 conditions that make up cluster A. Now, in cluster A, conditions that fall within cluster A have similar characteristics. What are those characteristics? Cluster A, the conditions under here, patients with this condition present with odd feature. They're going to have odd feature, and they're going to be very eccentric in their behavior. So they will have those eccentric behavior, and they're going to present with those odd features. Now, taking this condition one at a time, paranoia is one of the conditions in cluster A, and it is marked by distrust. Patient who has a paranoid personality disorder will not have trust in other individuals within their surroundings. They're going to have suspiciousness, meaning they will have suspicion about individuals in their midst when they are having paranoid disorder or paranoid personality disorder. So they're going to have distrust. That's one feature of this condition. They're going to be suspicious. They will be suspicious about individuals within their surrounding. They live in fear of being harmed. This individual here, in here, they're going to be afraid of being exploited. So everyone that comes within their midst, they're going to feel that that individual wants to exploit them. So they will not have trust with their colleagues. They will not have trust with their partner. So they're going to have problems to just have friendship with other people or any form of relationship. Now, for the second type, the schizoid is characterized by emotional detachment. Individuals who have schizoid personality disorder in cluster A, they're going to have a serious emotional detachment. They're going to have disinterest, meaning they will not have interest in relationship. They're not going to have interest in friendship. They're not going to have interest in so many things that bring them pleasure or comfort when you are having schizoid disorder. Meaning, this individual in schizoid, they are having complete what we call anhedonia. Anhedonia is the term we use in mental health nursing when a patient does not have interest in anything that brings them pleasure. Whether it's sex, whether it is partying, going to party, going to movie, watching sports game, watching soccer, any form of sports for that matter, they're not going to have interest in it once they are having anhedonia. Now, so under here, they're going to have they will have emotional detachment. We say emotionally, they will be detached. They will have emotional detachment under here. And they're going to have disinterest. They will have disinterest. They will have disinterest in activities that will bring them pleasure. These are things they're going to have when they are schizoid. And the last of this cluster A condition is schizotyper. Now, in in this last condition, in the schizotyper, individuals in here, they are going to have odd beliefs. Their belief system is just kind of for negative about everything. Everything that happens within their environment, they only see the bad side of what is happening. And that's why they're going to have this odd belief. They are going to appear very eccentric. You will see them wearing those lousy color that does not match with the other colors on their attire they are having on. So they're going to have all this odd behavior. They're going to have this total perception. How they think about things in their surroundings is not how normally you and I are going to think when we do not have this problem. So their thinking faculty is completely distorted. Their dress code is odd and very eccentric. They're going to have delusions and hallucination. So under here, we say for schizotyper, one, they're going to have delusions. Under here, they're going to have hallucination. They're going to have odd dress code. Their dress code will be very odd dressing. They're going to also have eccentric appearance. They appear very eccentrically. They will have eccentric appearance under here. These are characteristics of the schizotypal disorders. Now, so in conclusion, cluster A is the first cluster. It has three conditions. It has paranoia, schizoid, and schizotypal. And under here, these conditions present with odd feature and eccentric behavior in cluster A. Now, let's take a look at cluster B. In cluster B, we said there are 4 different conditions that fall within cluster B. Now, in cluster B, it is also marked by different characteristics. Cluster A has different characteristic feature. Cluster B has different characteristics feature. Now, in cluster B, let's look at the condition in cluster B. 1, cluster B has the antisocial personality disorder. 1. 2, cluster B has borderline. They have what we call borderline disorders. They have what we call histrionic. They have the histrionic. And they have the 4th one, they're going to have what we call narcissistic disorder. Narcissistic disorder. So there are 4 disorders that fall within the cluster B. Now, what is important here is, I said earlier, that every cluster has similar characteristics or similar features, because that's why they are placed within the same category. Now, for cluster B, individuals that are faced with this condition under cluster B, they are very much dramatic. So under here, they are dramatic, very dramatic. So we see the drama queens under here. They are very much emotional. The way in which they will react to things is just out of reality. They are emotional, and they're going to be, they have some erratic traits. So they have erratic traits under here. So these are the general characteristics of cluster B disorders. They are dramatic, they are emotional, and they have erratic traits. Meaning, when things happen, when they are faced with life situation, they will overreact. They will create scene when scene is not supposed to be created. Little thing going to happen, their reaction will just be overplus. They will overreact, and their reaction will blow your mind if they fall in this particular category. Now, let's look at the antisocial. Antisocial disorder, they have a complete disregard. They have a complete disregard for others' empathy. They do not empathize other conditions. Everything about their surrounding is about themselves. They have no empathy. So under here, this individual in cluster B, antisocial, they have no empathy. They are very unlawful. They are very unlawful, meaning they do not abide by law. So if we have rules and regulation on the unit or on the wall or in any institution, they are the ones who want to go above and see what's going to happen. If we say wear masks on the unit, they're not going to wear masks. They want to know if they do not wear masks, what happens to them. So they are not empathetic. They are very unlawful. For them, they will not accept personal responsibility. They will not accept rules on the unit. They are not having any sense of direction, and they are manipulative. They are very manipulative under here. So they're going to come to you on the unit. They will tell you the sweetest things to cajole you, to make you to give them what they are requesting, even if they have what we call denial of rights for those items. Take for example, a patient who is on a unit who was involved into a suicide attempt and was placed on denial of rights for curtains or beddings or linen in their room, meaning their rights have been seized when it comes to having curtains in their room. Their rights have been seized when it comes to having bedding or linen in their room for spreadsheet. Now, sometimes this still occur because when a patient has attempted suicide or has engaged into some suicidal behavior that we think if they have those things within their room, they're going to commit suicide. So we go on and call the doctor. Doctor places them on what we call denial of rights, DOR. If a patient has denial of rights, they cannot have certain things that they are being denied for on the unit or in the hospital. So patients who are antisocial, if they are on denial of rights, they are very much manipulative. They're going to come to the nurse and talk to you and praise you. Oh, you look so beautiful. Look at your scrub. Nice shoes, nice hair. They're going to give you these praises to make you feel better, and they're going to give you all the best talks, all the best smile. They'll give you all those praises. At the end result, their aim is to have you manipulated to give them what they do not or what they are not supposed to have. That's what's happening in the case of antisocial disorder. Now, these individuals, they are very aggressive. They will engage into cultural. They do not have respect for each other culture. So if a kid is on the unit among them who has different culture, who is not allowed to do certain things, those things the kid who is culturally bound, they do not supposed to do. Those who are antisocial are the ones they're going to be doing what the kid's not supposed to do on the unit. Even it could be an adult. So in short, they are not law-abiding. They have disregard for culture. They are not empathetic. They are very much manipulative. Those are the most important characteristics for individuals who are antisocial. Then we look at borderline. Now, for individuals who fall under borderline disorder, this individual, they have instability of affect. Their affect is not stable. So they have unstable affect. That's what happening under here. They have unstable affect. And I ask you to look at the word affect and mood. So look at affect and mood. Now, they do not have stable affect. They also do not have identity. They do not have relationship. They always find problems in their relationship. They do not have also, they are very impulsive. They have fear of abandonment. When you put it in a seclusion room or when you get it into restraint, they're going to scream and shout forever because they do not want to be abandoned. They are going to engage into self-injurious behavior. They're going to take any object to cut themselves, to injure themselves, because that's the characteristic that link with them. They are potentially suicidal. So under here, they have unstable affect. They are suicidal. They involve into self-injurious behavior. They involve into this under here. Now, under borderline, they have ideas of reference are very common. So idea of reference is one of the most common characteristics of individuals that fall under borderline. And last of all, they are very impulsive. Those are the characteristics for individuals who have borderline disorder. Then we look at histrionic. Now, in histrionic, individuals in here, they are attention seeking. So under here, they are seeking. So under here, they are very much, they will come to you, they want you to look after them. You might have more than 18 patients or 10 patients on the unit, but they are the only ones that are going to come to you frequently to ask for things. They are very needy. They are attention seeking. They are needy. So they're going to ask for everything. For these individuals that fall under histrionic, they will flirt with everyone on the unit. They flirt a lot. These individuals under here, they are very seductive. So they have these characteristics, but among all the characteristics under histrionic, the most important one is they are attention seeking. They will laugh, they will cry, but they want you to always look after them. Even if they are adult, they will behave like a kid because they want to get the attention of those who are taking care of them. Then the last of all is the narcissistic. And this is where I have so much interest. Under narcissistic disorder, it is marked by arrogance. Individuals under here, they are very arrogant. They are arrogant. They have self-inflicted worth. So they feel that they are the best. Whatsoever they're going to say, they think is the best. They love praises. They love praises. They want you to say the best thing about them. They hate to be criticized. If you criticize them, it goes underneath their skin. You remember our past president in the US here, it came a time they said he was narcissistic because he loved praises. He felt that he knew more than the doctors. He also felt he knew more than even the military, the militants who've been on the front line before, or those old generals and past sergeants and all lieutenants in the army. He felt he knew more than them. So those behavior, the arrogance, self-inflicted worth, praises, they are just those future that those who are narcissistic will love. They will love those features, and they are hate to be criticized. So they hate criticism. Now, so these are the characteristics of cluster B and the condition that fall within cluster B. Now, then let's look at cluster C, the last cluster. Now, the last cluster under here is cluster C. Cluster C has two disorders. Now, cluster C has three disorders. It has three disorders. The first one is we call it avoidant disorder. Avoidant disorder is under cluster C. 2, we have what we call the dependent disorder. Dependent disorder. And number 3 here is what we call the obsessive compulsive disorder. Compulsive disorder. Now, disclaimer, this is not the same as OCD problem by itself. OCD is a condition by itself. It's a huge condition. This is the one that falls under personality disorder. They might have, let me not say they might. They have similar characteristics, but it is not the OCD. This is obsessive compulsive personality disorder. And this one is called obsessive compulsive disorder. Now, let's look at this. Now, under cluster C, these individuals, they are very anxious. They do not have patience. They are very anxious. You see them every time you see them, they are in rush. They are always in rush. They do not take their time to do things. If they are eating, they eat very fast. If they are walking, they walk like they are running. Someone is running after them. Everything they do under here, they are very anxious. They have fearful traits. under here they have fearful traits. And last, for them, they feel insecure. So they have insecurity. They have insecurity under here. And they have what we call inadequacy. Everything you do for them, it is not always what they want. They always want more. So if you have things to distribute with them, when you give them their portion, they are not always satisfied with their portion. So cluster C has these three disorders. Like I said, every cluster has similar feature or characteristics. Cluster C, they are anxious, they are fearful, they have insecurity, and they have inadequacy. Those are the general joint characteristics for cluster C. Now, cluster C, the first one is avoiding disorder. Avoiding is characterized by social inhibition and avoidance of all situations that require interpersonal contact. So individuals under here, they do not want to have contact with anyone. They want to make sure that they are not having contact with other individuals. So they're going to have avoidance of contact, avoidance. So no matter what they do, they want to live alone. They want to work alone. They cannot share a workspace with other staff because they are having avoidance and they want to stay on their own. Number two under here is they, despite of everything, they are extremely afraid of rejection. They do not want to be within others' midst because they are afraid of rejection. They stay on their own, they live by themselves, but they want to be identified. They want to be, they want people to have care, they want us to care about them, but they do not want to come around because they feel when they come around, they're going to be rejected. And that fear of rejection is what they are afraid of, and is what they try to avoid in avoiding disorder under personality. Now, then we have dependent. As the name itself depicts, dependent disorder, it is characterized by extreme dependency. Everything individuals under here will do, they depend on others. They cannot live alone. Everything they do, even if they have the power, the might, they have the energy to achieve certain things, they will not do it by themselves because they want a help. They want someone to come and help them. And that's what I said. You have some of your friends who will drive 10 miles to your house to pick you up, to take them to a 5 miles distance. How does that add up? You are going to a 5-mile distance because you cannot go there alone. So you have to drive 10 miles to pick up a friend to escort you to a 5-mile distance. These individuals fall under dependent disorder. Their ideas. They do not believe in their ideas. They do not believe in what they say. They do not believe in their perception. They always want to be second when it comes to group discussion. When you put them in a group, they function very well. If you put them alone, they do not function. These are the characteristics of individuals who are under dependent disorder. The last one is obsessive compulsive personality disorders. Under here, these individuals, they want to be perfect. So we call them the perfectionists. So we call them the perfectionists. Everything they do under here should be the best. They should always wear the best clothes. When they go to the bathroom, they spend the longest in the bathroom. Their rooms, their clothes, their house is clean, it's perfect. Their cars are very clean. You don't see any dirt in the car. Their sink, their toilet, their bathroom is clean. So they want to always live as that perfect gentleman, that perfect lady, you know. So everything about it is just very perfect. So they live as perfectionists throughout their lives. They want to be in control. Have you seen a woman and the husband? They went to the market. Everything she chooses is the final one. Everything the husband going to choose, She does not want it. She wants what she asking for should be what should be executed. You don't live that way. But individuals who have this disorder, that's how they're going to be. They want to live as perfect as possible. So even if they go to the bathroom, they're going to have certain obsession. They will be obsessed with things that are not real. They will become obsessed with their surrounding, that the surrounding is not clean. Even if the house is clean, they're going to keep cleaning the house because they want to live as perfectionists. These are things that they're going to have, and it takes them forever to accomplish tasks under obsessive compulsive personality disorder. So they want to accomplish tasks, but it takes them forever because the task that is being accomplished by them, they're going to come back to re-evaluate over and over and over and again, to the point that they're going to be bored of doing it. That's what happened. So these are the conditions that fall under this disorder. Like I said, there are 10 conditions, and in the NCLEX, these questions, there are questions on these conditions that are going to come in select order apply. So you have to know cluster A. What are those conditions that fall in cluster A? What are the conditions that fall in cluster B? And which one falls in cluster C? And we also have to understand those characteristics of every cluster. So thank you very much